mail.
United States Superior Court upholds freedom of speech from obscenity, curse words, giving the finger, it works. In a case in California, Superior Court upheld the rules of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the press. No judge, prosecutor, city attorney can prosecute anyone in violation of the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of expression. The constitutional right shall not be challenged in any courts whatsoever once they are violated. All judges, DAs, prosecutors, and city attorneys are liable for the violation of their constitutional rights of freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, there was this one beautiful Superior Court judge in the highest court. She was in the highest court, United States Superior Court. She was awesome. And she always spoke her mind about the constitutional rights, especially about the freedom of the people. And she ruled against a lot of corrupt judges, a lot of corrupt prosecutors, a lot of corrupt police unions and police departments and sheriff's departments. She was one hell of a judge. And I tilt my hat to that lady. I admired her very, very much because she said in her statement, way before she passed away, she made a statement that she ruled 7-2. And she stated that her exact words was, quote unquote, Justice Ruth wrote that those who despite and ignore the constitutional rights of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press, they can shove a fat one right up their ass and cheat and choke on it. Yeah, that's what she wrote. That's what that beautiful judge right there wrote. That's what that beautiful judge wrote. She could stick it up there. And you got the right to curse out a judge. You got the right to curse out a prosecutor. You got the right to curse out whoever the hell you want to curse out. You got that constitutional right. You got the right to say what you want to say and everything else. And she also broke down in there in what the court upholds of freedom of speech, freedom of the press. In the States, everybody gets upset. One thing she was very tired of is when cops threaten suspects. And she states that they shouldn't get away with it because they got their law enforcement. Neither should a prosecutor or a judge. No law enforcement should get away with threatening or putting their hands on a suspect. No one. All right? And they also made another ruling about threats. And the ruling was that from a Colorado guy, the ruling was the threat, what was the mind of the individual? What happened? They went all like that, then it's not a threat. It's not a verbal threat, terrorist threat, or nothing like that. It's not a threat. The prosecutors got to stop doing that because they leave themselves open for lawsuits, which they cannot use the ignorance of the law, because now prosecutors can be sued. Prosecutors, judges, and all of that can be sued once you violate their constitutional rights. Under 1983, under color of law, you deprive me of my rights, my freedom of speech, false imprisonment, false arrest, and for each day that you're arrested, it's $140. Now, if it's a felony, it's $100,000 a day. That's what goes against the state. That's what goes against the prosecutor. That goes against the judge. Nobody's immune from being sued. No one has immunity from being sued. No one has immunity No one has immunity. The law is the law. And one thing I liked about this judge here, she spoke the truth. Now, there was a case that was just ruled, a civil rights case in California that was ruled. And the ruling was under a civil rights case, 109 U.S. 3 at page 17. Anytime a judge, a prosecutor, or any kind of law enforcement officers violate your constitutional rights, which is the laws of the land, common law of the land, they can be sued. They can be sued. There's no ifs and no buts. A judge just got sued out in Texas. Judge got sued out in Alabama. Judge got sued out in Florida. You know, once you violate those constitutional rights, judges, prosecutors, and all of them can be sued. That's your constitutional right to sue them for damages. You know, this guy got me for 2 felony threats, which never happened. So we're going over everything, all over the police reports. And I keep asking this other attorney, this public defender, well, where is the victim's statements? And don't got nothing. Don't have nothing from no victim. Don't have nothing from a victim. I have a Johnson making a call and everything. Then it went to another deputy, which I'm going to be subpoenaed, called Joseph or Kevin, Klein. He's supposed to be a chief deputy. They give these motherfuckers all of these big names that don't mean a damn thing. It don't mean a damn thing. But if he gets more money, I'm suing him. But this guy, he also writes. There's no way to say what Mr. Keith was saying or who he was saying it to. You know. And yes, I got the right to call a person racist. I got the right to say conspiracy. I got the right to say the hell with them. They're some racist bastards, racist white people, and that's just what they are. I got that constitutional right. So you rather charge me for speaking my mind, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, when I see and hear, and we went over the videos. We're still going over the videos right now. And it says, I got the right to tell you I'm going to sue you. I got the right to say I'm going to fight in court for my constitutional rights. I got the right to say I will fight for my belief in my constitutional rights. I got that right. And we're pulling up all kinds of clips and all kinds of news conferences from different people that says the same thing. Now, this is the funny thing. Where did the disorderly conduct come from? I'm going to tell you where the disorderly conduct come from. Because he's a racist white son of a bitch, is what he is. That's what this prosecutor did, was fraud, conspiracy of a fraud charge of disorderly conduct. Nobody in the history of mankind ever got charged disorderly conduct for posting videos online. No one has. No one has. And that's how dirty these racist white people are out there in Minnesota. That's how dirty they are out there in Minnesota. They are the racist. I thought California was bad. I thought New York bad. But no, every white judge out there is racist. Every one of them are very racist. I got a guy that smells like alcohol and everything. I got one detective we just investigated. One deputy. He got like 2 assaults and 2 arguments and pointing his gun at his other half. Okay. And one doesn't have a license whatsoever, but they driving around in a company car, a state car, you know? So yeah, we getting the works on them because every one of them will be subpoenaed and every video will be played. That's the funny thing about it. Every video I have is this trial. So I remember the guy was saying to the prosecutor, how long it's going to be? 2 days. No, it's not going to be no 2 days. This ain't going to be no 2-day trial. The trial ain't even going to be held in no white racist county. That's not happening. I got the constitutional right to have it moved to a big city because of your racism. Let me explain something to you about that courthouse. You give something to the clerk. When I was going through my divorce, everything I gave to the clerk's office, and her supervisor's in the lawsuit too, and the clerk's office, that clerk is in the lawsuit too. Every time I gave something to the clerk, well, I'll show it to the judge to see if she'll approve for it to be logged in. No, you violated my constitutional rights right then and there. I don't need no judge's approval to get any damn thing logged in. This case law, as it already said, once a clerk is hand documents, they got to immediately log it in. And I even threw the case law in my complaint against them clerks, against the clerk and the clerk supervisor. I don't have to go through no judge to get something logged in. That's conspiracy. That's interfering with my constitutional rights to access to the courts. Straight up, you know? And I'm reading up all of the complaints that I filed against this judge and everything, and I'm getting them all, point blank. I'm getting them all. I'm getting them all in federal court, and I got that constitutional right. You see, what they screwed up about was this here. They should have left me alone. They should have left me alone. I wasn't bothering nobody. I got the right to call them racist. I got the right to call them bitches. I got the right to call them hoes. I got that constitutional right to say what I want to say. I got that constitutional right. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of the press. I got that constitutional right, and nobody can take that from us. Nobody can take that from us. Let me show you what Judge Ruth said. She said, that is the problem with society right now. That these judges and prosecutors got to understand, you cannot violate people's constitutional rights of freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of expression. You cannot continually go into us and ask us to overturn stuff when all we see out of this here in our decisions is that you did violate these individuals' freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of expression, regardless. The laws are not out there. The constitutional rights is not out there to be violated. The constitutional rights is out there to be upheld. And anyone, from law enforcement to even judges or prosecutors, continue to violate this constitutional rights that is given not only by common law, but also in the Bill of Rights, then you are looking for a big fight in the court system. And every time we get a case like this, we'll be ruling in the favor of the defendant, no matter what, because you did violate the man's rights of freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of expression. This has to stop immediately, you know. And now this judge was a Washington, D.C., United States Superior Court judge. She passed away. And then she wrote that those who despise and despite, and that is against the constitutional rights, shove a fat one up your ass. That's just what she wrote. Shove a fat one up your ass. And she got her fingers up like that. Y'all don't believe me, huh? I printed it out for y'all. Yeah, I did. That was one beautiful judge. She is my admirer. I love this lady. I followed this lady for so many years about the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and she was for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. She didn't give a damn about DAs, prosecutors, law enforcement. She cared about she was for the Bill of Rights. No ifs and no buts. Every one of her ruling. And I remember when I was looking up an old case of hers where they ruled against her. It was like 3 to 5, I think it was. And she did not want to rule on this bill. And she explained why. Because it said that it takes away women's rights. And she didn't want to go for that. She was straight down for women's abortion. She was straight down for women's rights. That's the people right there should be in office. That's the kind of judge that they lost the best United States Superior Court judge in the history of all time. She was one hell of a judge. She believed in the foundation of the forefathers and of the common laws and of the Bill of Rights. She believed in that very, very strong, you know. And I never forget when I seen her on the news, and I had to look way back to find her ruling. And she's in right there on the bench. Stick it. All of y'all could stick it. If y'all go against the Bill of Rights and freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press, y'all could stick it up your ass. She said it right off the bat. And it's been all over the news back then. This was a hell of a judge. Okay? Miss Ruth was one hell of a United States Superior Court judge. She believed in freedom. She believed in the Constitution. She was very strong on the Constitution. She didn't give a damn if you was white, green, purple, gay, whatever. She believed in the Constitution for the people. She was, that lady, I admired her very, very much. She was a true fighter and a true human being. That she was. She did not take no garbage from none of her partners, none of her constituents. She didn't give a damn they liked her or not. This is my ruling. This is why. And she states in some of her statements why anytime you go against the constitutional rights, you have caused treason. Anytime you go against the Bill of Rights, you have caused treason against the United States and against the people. Period. There's no ifs and no buts. There's no ifs and no buts. Now you got cases coming up all over in courts now and in federal courts and stuff with judges and prosecutors being sued. Nobody is above the law. Nobody's above the law. And I'm doing my motion for dismissal. And if they want to take this to trial every day that I'm under this punishment, this pain and suffering, which violates my 7th Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment, my 1st Amendment, my 2nd, false imprisonment, works. I'm not having it no more. I'm not having it no more. But I had to get on here real quick and do that, man. But I'll be back on later on. I gotta lay down and take my meds, man. I don't feel too good. Peace out.